Hello again. Welcome to Jackrabbit Journal. So far, so good for the Jackrabbit football team, Hank. The Jacks are 2-0, back to work this week after a bye week. They take on Robert Morris this Saturday. Do you believe in momentum? Did this bye week come at a bad time? Did it stop anything, ruin anything that the Jacks had going?
No, I don't think it ruined anything the Jacks had going. I do believe in momentum, but what I believe in more than that is routine. And that's what a bye week, for the most part, kind of interrupts, is these guys' week-to-week in-season routine. But that being said, it is a great opportunity for these guys to get rested up, to refocus, perhaps, and really just to kick things back off, once they get through it. Maybe get some things for school sorted out of the way, some projects checked off the list, and then refocus onto the gridiron.
All right. Again, Jacks 2-0. They opened the season with that 41-38 win against Kansas. Looking ahead, no way ahead, but a win there that might carry some weight when it comes down to playoff time. And then a 55-10 spanking of Southern Utah in the home opener. Brady Mengarelli with 3 touchdowns in that one. And it does stink that the bye comes this early this year, but of course Stig is making the best of it.
We'd prefer the bye week later on, but it's not going to happen with the conference schedule. And so it could be one game later, but right now we'll take it, and we're going to make it a positive. Our guys, some are going to get home and see their family. They're going to get off their legs. They're going to get rested, and they'll come back hungry for another week of football.
All right, and maybe it's not all that horrible to have the bye week at this time. You don't want it right in the middle of the conference season. Maybe it's not bad right now.
Look at it this way. The Jackrabbits were off, then they're going to play Robert Morris. The Bison are off this week, and then they're going to play the Jackrabbits. So what do you do?
All right, 9 straight weeks now for the Jacks in the grind. And coming up on the show, we have a story on Zach Zenner in Detroit. We've got an interview coming up with Cole Langer, who gets a little feisty, and a breakdown of the game against Robert Morris coming up this Saturday. But up next, Zach Lujan, 7-2 as a starter for the Jackrabbits. He's been really good for 2 games this year, and he's got 2 things that every great quarterback has to have.
Jackrabbit Journal on Midco Sports Network is presented by Dakota Land Honda.
Welcome back, Jacks. Quarterback Zach Lujan has been the Alaskan assassin so far this season. 607 yards in 2 games. He's got 5 touchdowns, no interceptions. And the junior from Anchorage has an attitude, a really good attitude. And that positive persona has been a big part of this 2-0 start for the Jackrabbits. Wise men have said a person is about as happy as they make up their mind to be. And Zach Lujan has made up his mind to be not necessarily happy all the time, but uplifting at the very least.
Attitude affects everyone, whether it's positive or negative. And I've been around people who are more positive, and I know they've brought me up. So I try and do that same thing and bring the team up in whatever way I can. And a lot of times it's just a slap on the butt or encouraging word here or there, whatever it is, just trying to help the team out.
He's very upbeat, very positive with things that he does. He's hard on himself, but he does take a very positive outlook. His dad coached, and so he kind of has been around it, and I think he kind of understands that part of it. But he loves the game, and he loves knowing the game.
That can-do, will-do attitude served him well last year in his first season with the Jacks, when Lujan stepped in and started 7 games.
Reps are huge. Mental reps, are great and everything. You try and replicate them the best you can as game reps, but there's no true replication of an actual game rep. So to be able to play 7 games last year and everything like that, and then to come back and be behind Austin Sumner, who was all-time leading passer here and everything like that, it was a great learning experience.
But it was also a painful learning experience, having success and then having to step aside when Sumner returned from injury.
I still think the toughest thing in football is that I've ever experienced was to give up the starting position once I had it. But I find peace in the fact that I would have made the same decision. He was a 3-year starter or 4-year starter, 3-year team captain. It was his team at that point. So now it's just I want to make it my team.
Well, his team is off to a great start to the season. The Jacks have rolled up over 1,000 yards of offense and are +5 in turnover margin through 2 games, in part because Lujan is taking care of the football. And there are bound to be mistakes and miscues going forward, but expect Lujan to make the best of any bad or good situation.
Zach Lujan has one thing you can't teach, and that's confidence. All right, he's a great leader. I know he learned that from his parents because I've met his parents. But his confidence comes from working hard, preparing well, And no, he doesn't have the strongest arm, but he's got an adequate arm. He's got a great mind. He studies football. He's a winner.
There's always going to be someone else better out there, and I want to become as perfect as possible. So it's just to chase perfection, and that's what we preach across the board in all our meeting rooms. So whether it's a run play and my footwork is a little off, or I miss a protection call, whatever the case may be, it's just try and perfect everything and be as mentally sharp as possible.
Well, that attitude brings to mind another Jackrabbit who's now playing football on Sundays. Some good stuff from Stig coming up on Zach Zenner, making the team in Detroit.
Jackrabbit Journal on Midco Sports Network is presented by Dakota Land Honda.
Former Jackrabbit running back Zach Zenner is getting ready for his third week now as an NFL running back with the Detroit Lions. He's got a $435,000 one-year contract, and his college coach says that good things continue to happen to a great young man.
I think he's tremendously excited. Surprised would say he didn't believe in himself, and he believes in himself a ton. He sets goals and he goes after them, and he wouldn't have been surprised if he got cut either, because he would have said such his life and went on to medical school. But he's a good football player.
And he can play, right? I mean, he can play at that level.
Oh, without a doubt. Yeah, I'm sure there's some situations as he's better than than some of them. They have a lot of situational type stuff in the NFL, but he's a complete back. He can block, he can run hard, he can catch the ball, and he's not going to mess up. I mean, he's going to be, with the playbook's this thick, he's going to be fine.
Well, this summer, our Jackrabbit Journal producer, David Brown, went to Detroit, got a couple of minutes with Zach Zenner, and at the time, he was using all those things that Stig talked about, the smarts and the talent and the character, to try and put off med school for a little bit longer while he grinds to make a roster with the Detroit Lions. Zach Zenner ran for at least 2,000 yards in 3 straight seasons at South Dakota State. He is the only player ever at the FCS level to do that.
Someone heard how many yards I had in college, went around for a little bit, but a lot of people did well in college, Yeah, those are pretty good numbers, but you still got to prove you can play out here.
A lot of people think that Zenner can play in the NFL. He is 5'11", 224 pounds. He's quick, fast, rugged, he's very smart, and it has to help that the running backs coach for the Lions specifically wanted Zenner to come to Detroit as a free agent.
I was keeping my fingers crossed that some kind of way, whether we drafted him or signed him as a free agent, he would end up here, and I was fortunate that happened. I talked to him on the phone, and of course I saw him at the combine and all that, and just try to keep an eye on him, but during the draft you never know what's going to happen, and we're just fortunate it worked out our way when the day was over.
Coach Modkins is a great coach. I'm glad to be here working underneath him. He's helped me out a lot, just how they want to run things, or how things are run here, the speed at which I'm supposed to go, faster on this play, tempo down here, those sort of things. It's been really good.
He's doing good along with some of our other rookies. He's doing a good job. He's on top of his stuff. He's seeing the right things, and he's doing the right things. So I'm really excited about where he's at right now.
The Lions completed a rookie minicamp in May and then another team minicamp in June. And those precious days on the field gave Zenner a chance to get his considerably talented feet wet and get a feel for how the NFL was going to be different than the Missouri Valley Conference.
One thing that surprised me is that at the end of the day, we're still out here playing football. For some reason in your mind you hold that the NFL is so different, than college. Really, it's all football, but everyone's big and fast.
And a few of them are very famous. Zenner has spent time running routes with Calvin Johnson and catching passes from Matthew Stafford.
I was starstruck for sure. How can you not be? But at the same time, you got to get over that real quick because the play's coming and you got to know what you're doing.
That is not and never has been a problem for Zenner. He has taken his lunch pail and his work ethic with him to Detroit.
Yeah, he's a hard-working kid, puts the time in to be good. I can tell he goes, when he leaves here, it doesn't end for him. He goes home and he studies his stuff, and when he comes back the next day, he's ready to go. You can tell he has a really good feel for the game. There's a really good understanding of blocking schemes and where he fits into it and how to set things up, and where the hole's going to be and what the potential problems and issues are and where the soft spot's going to be at. So you can tell that, but until we get on pads, it'll be hard to say what distinguishes any of them from each other.
There are 5 other running backs on the Detroit roster right now, including second-round draft pick Amir Abdullah. Zenner and Abdullah faced off in college when the Jacks played at Nebraska in 2013. Zenner went for 202 yards on 21 carries that day. Abdullah ran 15 times for 141. But they are teammates now, for the time being at least, along with returning running backs Joik Bell and Theo Riddick.
All those guys have been really helpful, and then we're helping each other out as rookies also. From my perspective, I'm making it as hard as I can on the coaches to make a decision. That's our job as players. Yeah, we're competing against each other, but let's make them keep both of us. That's my attitude.
Another factor in Zenner's favor is the Detroit coaching staff's reputation for running a wide-open camp. Supposedly no favors given to returning players or draft picks, and full consideration given to undrafted free agents like Zenner.
There's more undrafted guys than there are, 5th, 6th, and 7th rounders combined, or something like that. So, there's definitely an opportunity, and there's definitely been shown that undrafted free agents can have a big impact in our league. But I see him doing some good things for us, and I think when we get on the pads, when we get in the preseason, he'll even flourish a little bit more.
Zenner was an outstanding student at South Dakota State. He earned a degree in biology. He has been accepted to medical school but has deferred that enrollment for a year. He never really had a nickname in college, but he's got one now with the Lions.
We refer to him as Doc around here, so that's what he goes by now. So I apologize to his parents, but he's now known as Doc.
I'm no doctor yet, but I guess there are a lot of worse things he could be called than Doc.
And if nobody calls him Doc for another 10 years, that would be fine with Zenner. That would mean that he is still playing pro football. And he wants to be very clear on one question that he gets asked all the time. Are you committed to football? Why bang your head trying to play this game instead of studying to be a surgeon?
Maybe from the outside, that's a legitimate question, but for me, it is kind of silly. I want to be out here. I want to play in the NFL first and then go pursue a degree in the, healthcare field. But NFL is definitely first, and I'm working my butt off to make the team.
Who is Robert Morris and how good are they? The Jacks will get a look at some funky offense and defense this Saturday. Back with Hank to assess the Colonials after this.
Jackrabbit Journal on Midco Sports Network is presented by Dakota Land Honda.
Welcome back to Jackrabbit Journal. The Jacks are home this Saturday to take on Robert Morris. Robert Morris was a founding father of the United States, signed the Declaration of Independence right along with John Hancock. The school is right outside of Pittsburgh, Robert Morris, named after him. What do you know about the football team?
Football team that is not necessarily rebuilding, but trying to build a program that was founded in 1993. Second-year coach. They're rolling with a rookie quarterback right now, and they like to run the football. Outside of that, they've got a bit of a unique defensive scheme, I guess you could say, that's going to try and confuse the Jacks. But from the little tape that we've been able to see thus far, it looks like there should be plenty of opportunities for SDSU's offense in particular to get things going.
All right, Robert Morris is 1-2, opened the season with a loss against Dayton, and then went to Youngstown State and took the Penguins to overtime before losing that one 21-14. So who are these guys?
They coulda, shoulda beat Youngstown, a team that's been ranked. So they're a good football team. They want to run the football, and they play kind of a adjustable defense. It's really hard to figure out their defense, but their offense, they want to run option, triple option.
All right, let's go to the board, and you heard Coach Stig talk about they want to run option. A lot of different ways you can run option, a lot of different formations. This is one that Robert Morris has used in his first couple of games. Freshman quarterback. They'll run this guy in motion every once in a while, but what do you see as far as how they want to run option?
Well, these guys, they want to spread you out. As an offense, they want to spread the field. They know they've got an athletic quarterback back here. He is a rookie, but at the same time, they want to utilize his feet and also his ability to, to make something happen out of the option game plan. So what I've seen, what little film we've been able to take a look at thus far, is some sprint option, which is just straight out of the backfield. Quarterback reading that D end. Depending on the look that the defense is giving you, of course. Majority of the time, he's going to look to keep it being the young guy. But he is comfortable in that set from what I can tell. You're also seeing some read option out of various formations, and then some other quirky, I guess, unique looks. Not necessarily out of this formation, various formations, but where you'll see the same sprint sprint option look, if not a read option look, where he'll actually pop back and they'll run a wide receiver screen on the front side or even the back side. Saw that as well. So it's tough to tell at this point, but we know they want to run the football with a young quarterback and they want to keep it unique.
They run it more than 75% of the time, but you got to be aware of that 25% where this guy, 23, is a pretty good receiver for them. Got to look out for him getting downfield.
Absolutely. We know that this tailback got hurt last week a little bit. He's nicked up. He's their workhorse. But at the same time, they do have athletes on the perimeter, so they're going to look to get the ball in their hands and see if they can make some plays against a defense traditionally with SDSU that is going to allow you to catch the football in front of them and then rely on sound tackling and fundamentals to make the play. Well, these guys are going to have to believe in their athletes on the outside and say, hey guys, if we want to win this game, we've got to break tackles and make plays.
All right, on defense, you heard Coach Stig talk about they do a lot of different things. They'll give you a lot of different looks. Basically, Robert Morris comes out, 3-man defensive front. Outside linebackers will come up, third down, these guys will drop back. Sometimes they're standing, sometimes they're down. A lot of different things for Lujan and the Jackrabbit offense to deal with. Is this an issue for the Jacks offense?
What it is a challenge mentally because a whole lot is going to have to be considered when these guys come to the line of scrimmage and pre-snap. The one thing we know at pre-snap is that you're not necessarily going to know where these guys are going to end up once the ball is snapped. So there is a lot to consider, both in pass pro as well as in the run game. The one thing that we have been able to see on film is that these guys, they are athletes up front on the defensive side of the football, and they're not afraid to jump these guys around and put them in unique situations, in unique formations in order to confuse the opponent or at least attempt to confuse the opponent. So, it does present a bit of a unique challenge because this isn't something that the guys see week in and week out. But at the same time, they're going to say this is how we're going to approach it, more than likely as a typical 3-4 scheme that we see, with the understanding that, there's going to be some wrinkles that we're not used to or not necessarily prepared for. But this is how we're going to go about it. We're going to stick to our guns and make adjustments throughout the game as needed.
All right. Yeah, they got this guy, Mike Stokovic, their linebackers, their leading tackler, number 11. Look out for him. They got a good defensive end, number 90. His name is Mason, so he's had a couple of sacks so far this year. But the Jacks, Robert Morris gave up some long touchdown passes in the first 3 games for them. Jake Winicky might be able to make some hay in this one, as he has in the first couple of games for South Dakota State.
Certainly some opportunity for some big plays in this game. Last week in their homecoming game against Notre Dame, just like you said, they gave up big plays both in the run game as well as over the top. There are going to be some unique looks, but at the same time, there are going to be opportunities to make plays.
And just last thing, you talk about the Jacks maybe having to adjust things. Do they want to do that, or are they just going to come out and say, this is what we do, and we're going to do it no matter what your defense is?
Well, in every game, there's going to be an opportunity to make adjustments if things don't go exactly the way that you hope they would from the outset. And so you come in with your game plan, hey guys, this is what we're planning to do. And if, based on what they potentially could show us or something that they haven't shown on film that is new to us, that they show it to us on the fly, we're going to make adjustments and we're going to do what we need to do in order to counteract that.
All right, Jacks 55 points last week. We'll see what they can do this week against Robert Morris. All right, when we come back, Cole Langer in the Rapid Fire interview. We get him all riled up in this one when we come back.
Jackrabbit Journal on Midco Sports Network is presented by Dakota Land Honda.
Welcome back. From what I know, Cole Langer is very laid back, but we get a rise out of him this week in the Rapid Fire interview with David Brown.
First one, why are you number 54?
It's the number they gave me. I didn't really have much of a choice. I think that was all that was left.
Were you disappointed you couldn't get your high school number, or did you sort of understand?
I understood. I didn't really expect to pick my number, so I don't know. I like 54.
You've embraced 54?
I've embraced it.
Who is the smelliest teammate?
I'm going to say Big Schaaf. Schaaf stinks, but I don't know.
Why does he stink so bad?
He's just a big dude.
100-yard dash among the defensive linemen, who wins?
I'm going to say me. I'm taking that.
Confident in yourself?
Very confident.
Can you tell me what a quarrier is?
Well, we got the quarry in Dallas, like hitting rock, getting rock, whatever, doing the quarry. I don't know, that's all I know it is.
Just making sure, obviously, a graduate of Del Rapids, I would hope you knew what a quarrier is.
Yep.
What's your favorite Coach Stig catchphrase?
Holy nutmeg. That's my favorite.
A lot of people say that one. What makes that one so unique?
I don't know. I think it's just funny how he says that.
Who's the smartest player on the team?
There's a lot. Probably Nick Mears though. Mears is smart. He's a smart dude.
Is he football smart or academically
He's
smart?
both. Just a smart guy.
What is the best prank you've ever pulled or that's been pulled on you?
Wow, that's a tough one.
See, we make you think here.
On the spot. Best prank. Oh, there was one time in my freshman dorm, Dalton Douglas, I was sleeping. He comes in and like all quietly and then just yells in my face, and I was scared, that's for sure. That was probably the worst prank I've had since I've been here.
What is your guilty pleasure song?
1,000 Miles. I don't know who sings it. But
Vanessa Carlton?
Yeah, it's Vanessa Carlton. That's my favorite.
Why? What gets you in a good mood?
Just start singing along. Yeah, sing along. It's a great song.
What's your favorite TV show?
The Office.
Even though it's been off the air for a couple years?
Yep, still watching Netflix every night.
Then last one, they're making a movie about your life. Who plays you?
Wow, it's a tough one. Kane Lauscher. No, it's a tough one. I'm going to say Tom Hardy.
The Bane look?
Yep, Bane look. Doing bad.
All right, thanks for playing.
Yeah, no problem.
Thanks to Cole Langer. We've got the Jackrabbit game this Saturday live on Midco Sports Network. We'll see you then.